Bosses come in all shapes and sizes, and in some circumstances, it's not exactly clear how you're supposed to beat a boss that feels pretty unbeatable. So in those cases, your progress can be stopped dead. However, the reason why certain bosses seem borderline invincible is because players go about the battle the wrong way. Now, some evildoers can be beaten by taking advantage of a glitch, but we won't be looking at those examples. The battle strategies in these entries may be odd, but they were always intended by the developers. Anyone who's busted a controller or two because they couldn't get past a particularly nasty enemy should probably give these methods a try. Personally, the shoulder button is broken because of Elden Ring. Not me. Elden Ring. It's true. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 video game bosses everyone fought wrong. Number 10, Salazar, Resident Evil 4. Now, there's no doubt that Sir Ramon Salazar is probably the most fun antagonist in Resident Evil 4, but that doesn't change the fact that when you have to go toe-to-toe with him, he's an absolute beast. He mightn't look like much, but after Leon S. Kennedy enters Salazar's ritual chamber, the diminutive castle owner transforms into a screen-filling monstrosity. For the battle, Leon must repeatedly blast at Salazar's tiny and constantly moving weak point. After sustaining enough damage, Salazar's humanoid form will appear in the back room, which is so far away it could only be shot at effectively with a sniper rifle. The problem is, Leon is vulnerable while aiming, allowing Salazar to whip him with his tentacles or swallow him whole, resulting in an immediate game over. Also, running out of ammo is a problem since both weak points are hard to hit. Luckily, Leon can avoid a long and arduous battle by obliterating the Napoleon wannabe with a single rocket. Even if you can't afford the rocket launcher at the shop, our curtain-haired hero can find one in the castle shortly before facing Salazar. This strategy is beneficial since it'll help Leon conserve ammo for the later stages of the game. Also, Capcom were nice enough to maintain Salazar's severe allergy to rockets for the Resident Evil 4 remake. Number 9, The Ninja Master, The Revenge of Shinobi. Although The Revenge of Shinobi is a classic, the hack and slash definitely tested the patience of many due to its difficulty. Even if our hero, Joe Musashi, makes his way through a myriad of enemies, booby traps, dinosaurs, evil robots, a bafflingly complex maze, and freaking Batman, he still has to contend with the final boss, the Ninja Master. At first, this guy seems like a joke, like his only means of attack is hurling his hair like a boomerang. However, many Genesis owners were infuriated by this foe for one simple reason. In the background of this battle, Joe's wife Naoko can be seen trapped in a cell, and as the battle progresses, the ceiling on her cell goes down. You can see the problem. If Joe doesn't vanquish the ever-cackling fiend in time, she'll be crushed to death. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem feasible to win before Naoko is squished due to the Ninja Master's staggering health bar. Yet, saving Joe's bride is actually easier than it appears. If Joe shoots a shuriken at the rectangular block on the very left of the room, the ceiling will reverse direction. Keep striking the mechanism and you should have more than enough time to take down the Ninja Master while keeping your wife from becoming a Jill sandwich. Or Naoko, pancake, whatever you prefer. Number 8, Gunther Herman, Deus Ex. Deus Ex was revolutionary at the time it came out, giving you all kinds of freedom with how you wanted to interact with the world, the choices that you made within it, how you wanted to solve puzzles and access areas. Not only that, but the freedom of choice extended to enemy encounters as well. Although gamers have been conditioned to believe they can complete any mission by shooting everything in sight, Ion Storm's roleplayer offered plenty of different methods to get things done. When our hero JC Denton confronts an augmented agent called Gunther Herman, it looks like the pair are about to throw down. Fortunately, Denton doesn't have to resort to violence if he plays his cards right. By doing some snooping beforehand, you can actually find out that Gunther has been programmed with a kill phrase. Uttering the words Laputan machine to Gunther causes him to shut down instantly, allowing Denton to bypass the whole scrap entirely. The name is a reference to Laputa, a flying island in Gulliver's Travels, where the inhabitants built machines that are incredible but impractical. Considering how effortlessly Denton disposes of Gunther, this kill phrase seems more than fair. Denton can square off the old-fashioned way, but it's more satisfying to beat the deranged cyborg by outsmarting him. Number 7, Demise, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. In the final dungeon of every Legend of Zelda game, you probably will find yourself in a position where you've got all the gear under the sun you could possibly want, both defensive and offensive. Not to mention a bunch of fairies and bottles in your pocket just in case things go awry and you need to be revived. Having said that, Skyward Sword's big bad Demise is a real piece of work. His overpowered attacks have a long reach and are rarely telegraphed. There's only a brief window of time to strike Demise effectively, which will leave Link highly vulnerable if he mistimes it. What's worse is Demise unleashes an annoying lightning attack during the second phase of battle that can't be deflected with your sword or shield. Surprisingly though, it can be deflected with the Bug Net. Despite having no combative abilities up until this point, this butterfly catching accessory is invaluable during the final showdown. By swinging the bug net at the right time, Link can send this lightning back at Demise, stunning him for long enough for the Hylian warrior to wail on him. Demise's weakness to this particular attack might not exactly make sense, but his vulnerability to it definitely does turn this rock-hard battle into a cakewalk. Also, it's just funny. Number 6. Quiet. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Since Metal Gear Solid launched, Konami's stealth shooter has been renowned for its atypical methods to defeating bosses. Psycho Mantis can only be beaten by plugging the controller into the Player 2 port, the End dies of old age if players take a break from the game for 2 weeks, and let's not forget about elite markswoman Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Though there are a number of ways to take her down, there's one tactic that's strongly recommended. Because it's really funny, which is always the reason you should do something. After using binoculars to lock onto Quiet's position, Snake can call a supply drop on the boss's coordinates. When the ammo crate sails down, it'll bonk Quiet on the noggin, taking off 50% of her health bar. After 2 crates, she should be down for the count. Now, there's a chance Quiet will dodge, but so long as Snake has enough cash to send more supplies to crash land on the elite sniper, this fight can be over without anybody firing a single bullet. Number 5. The Dark Aeons, Final Fantasy X. It's a huge relief that having to fight the incredibly powerful Dark Aeons from Final Fantasy X is not mandatory for finishing the game, since trying to do all of them is a Herculean task. Not only do these beasts have a ton of health and rely on dirty tricks, all of them are immune to status ailments. On top of that, death-proof accessories like ribbons don't work, making it incredibly tough to avoid an instant kill wipeout. Although different tactics are needed for each Dark Aeon, there are a few rules of thumb that should make the battles a lot easier. If Yuna summons your Jimbo in battle, she can pay the katana-wielding Ronin a fee to attack her foe. If she pays him enough and has full overdrive, which is this game's version of limit breaks, your Jimbo should be able to take this guy out. If Yuna has the Magistral Rod equipped, she'll be given the first turn, minimizing the chances of being eliminated. Even though the Dark Aeons can take up to an hour to beat, this strategy can allow our heroes to emerge victorious with a single attack. Number 4. Dr. Wily, Mega Man 7. Dr. Wily's Wily machine in Mega Man 7 is often regarded as the hardest boss in the franchise. Considering how brutal Capcom's side-scrolling platformer is, that's really saying a lot. In this battle, Wily teleports around the arena in his little skullmobile while he's shooting homing projectiles, the worst kind of projectiles that come out all fiery, icy, or lightningy. Anyway, basically these things are coming so thick and fast and right at you even if you do move, that missing getting hit by them is probably happening more out of luck than actual skill. Although getting hit by lightning isn't too bad, the fire takes off a ton of health. The ice is even worse since it paralyzes the hero android, which allows Wily to hit you with another devastating attack. Even if Mega Man has every power-up and energy tank, conquering Wily this time around feels impossible. However, there's one sneaky tactic that makes this bout significantly easier. When Wily appears close to the ground, Mega Man should equip the Thunderbolt and blast the infernal scientist to hell. Although Wily won't lose health, he'll be too stunned to shoot anything. Instead, he'll drop energy balls on the ground, which are way easier to dodge. Although Mega Man is bound to be hit a few times, at least using this method should mean that you get quite a bit further and not instantly taken out by those brutal attacks. Number 3, Godkin Duo, Elden Ring. There's no doubt Ornstein and Smugh from Dark Souls are the most infamous dual bosses in From Software history, however you'd like to pronounce them. Elden Ring's Godkin Duo, Apostle and Noble, are a close second. The perilous pair are mind-bogglingly fast and can cut your health to 0 in a couple of strikes. The opportunity to attack is massively brief, so you can only deal minor damage to the dastardly duo without being torn asunder. And if the Godskins corner you, which if you've played Elden Ring, you'll know you usually die to geometry, you're pretty much just a blood puddle in the ground by that point. Worst of all, Apostle and Noble will resurrect themselves unless the two are executed in rapid succession. If the Tarnished doesn't kill the second boss in time, they have to fight the first one all over again. The only thing that stops this battle from being an unbearable slog is the Godskins' vulnerability to sleep pots. Despite the fact that this tactic is rarely effective against bosses, a sleep pot here will knock the Godskins out cold for up to a minute, giving you more than enough time to eviscerate them. So long as there are enough sleeping pots in your inventory, this otherwise super tricky battle should be a breeze. And considering I'm currently doing my very first Elden Ring playthrough and I'm refusing to take any guides or backseating, I'm really enjoying this loophole. Number 2, Dron, Super Metroid. Super Metroid has plenty of challenging bosses, including Ridley, Phantoon, and the arch-villain Mother Brain. However, these ferocious beasties are a walk in the park compared to Dron. Coming out on top against this waterborne monstrosity, this guy is an absolute bastard to take on, even if our heroine Samus Aran is armed to the teeth. Due to its impenetrable exterior, Dron's only vulnerable point is under its belly. This infamous boss swoops around the room at lightning speed, making it tough to aim at. If Samus comes into contact with Dron's sticky projectiles, her ability to jump will be impaired, and when that happens, Dron can corner Samus with ease and drain her health. No specific tactics though, and there's a trick that can wrap this battle up in no time. After short-circuiting the wall turrets with a missile, players need to let the crustacean-like creature grab Samus. If she latches onto an electrified turret with the grapple beam while she's in its clutches, it'll be fried to a crisp. It's difficult to get the timing right, but it's worth it, since Super Metroid's hardest boss will be cooked in a matter of seconds. Number 1, the Reaper, Persona 5. In Persona 5, Joker and his friends can sometimes happen upon a really menacing creature down in Mementos called the Reaper. First, you'll hear the jangling of chains, and then run into an enemy that can pretty much obliterate 99.9% of parties in one fell swoop. He has an immense array of tactics and an almost impenetrable defense to every kind of attack. He'll continuously launch stat ailments at the party, making it nearly impossible to maintain an effective strategy. The Reaper always targets the weakest party member, forcing the team to constantly revive each other, and with a dozen other strategies up his sleeve, he definitely feels undefeatable. But it's a different story altogether if this merciless villain is encountered during flu season. If Joker's team enter Mementos in November or December, some enemies will have fallen sick, including the Reaper. While fighting with him during this period, the Reaper will succumb to a cold within 3 turns, allowing you to walk away with a ton of XP, a trophy, and an artifact that halves damage when equipped. Since the Reaper can be fought again and again, our heroes can easily level up this way at astronomic speed. Sadly, this gives players such an unfair advantage in the original Persona 5 that the Reaper's allergies were removed from the Royal Edition. In a way, you can't really blame the developers for doing this. After all, it's kind of weird that the big bad of Mementos can be beaten with the sniffles. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous and also kind of amazing.